Hey guys, so it is November 4th and we're recording our 4th art sound off. And I got a haircut, so now I'm a cute little acorn again instead of a shaggy dog. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about a specific topic, and that is the fact that there are always going to be people who find something to nitpick or to find ways to make your work not good enough. And it doesn't matter what stage you are in your career, you're going to encounter this. You can be an absolute beginner, you can be a 30-year veteran. There are always going to be people who have a problem with what you do. And you know, to be honest, that hurts. It sucks, especially when you are just kind of minding your own business, looking for solutions to a problem, maybe brainstorming, and they invite themselves into the conversation with solutions that are just completely non sequitur and involve you completely revamping what you're doing. And to be honest, that just doesn't help at all. When your suggestion to somebody who has like a 100-page watercolor comic is like, maybe don't do a comic in watercolor, I mean, do you really think they've never considered that? That's usually not an actual solution. So, what do you do about these people who go out of their way to tell you that it's not good enough, who go out of their way to find ways to negate what you're doing? Well, first, I think it helps to understand where they're coming from. Not so we can have sympathy, but so we can recognize that when we do it ourselves, because we do, we're all guilty of it, and to just try to mitigate how much that stings. A lot of these people honestly mean well when they give non sequitur advice. When they tell you the solution to, let's say, for example, serving your patrons' needs for a very specific type of Patreon that isn't common and there aren't many other examples doing it. Their example is to switch your model completely over to a commission-based model because they don't actually know that you offer online commissions. And then their solution is, well, you should just redo all your commissions to something gorgeous and new, except you did just redo your commissions and they look pretty good. But see, the issue is this person isn't familiar with your work. They want to help you. They really do. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys can see Bowie has decided to be in the shot. They really do want to help you, but they don't want to put the time into learning about your problem and actually helping you find a solution. What they're looking for is a quick feel-good fix. They want to come in, offer you some novel solution you've never ever considered, right? And then just leave. And their intentions are good. They are trying to help. They just don't know enough about the problem to actually offer any help. And we have all been guilty of this. We've all done this. We've all thought we understood a situation when we actually didn't. And instead of taking the time to figure out what was actually going on because we're busy, or hey, it's Twitter and we've got other things to do. This isn't our life. This isn't our career that we're helping somebody with. Let me see if I can get the cat in a shot, because I know that's what you guys care about. We just brush in, give a super easy novice off-the-cuff solution, and then walk out. The other day, I was brainstorming solutions for ways to better serve my patrons. And for those of you who are familiar with my work, the Patreon is actually not to sell art. It is not to sell comics. It is intended to fund the tutorials and reviews that I do here on the channel and over on the blog. It is a very, very specific purpose. I have a lot of readers, but many of them are just not interested in showing support. So what I wanted to figure out is how can I make supporting my channel, supporting my blog, a must-do for some of these people, for some of these regular readers. How do I convince them that $2 a month is well spent? What kind of things can I offer that they can't get anywhere else? And I was really hoping some of my patrons would mention some things that they would be interested in. But unfortunately, between the time I started tweeting that and the time I finished, I got pulled for my haircut. Just too much time had passed. The thread had been lost. So it seemed very non sequitur to people who were just sort of coming in. So I got a lot of like really random, kind of useless responses that were kind of frustrating because, like, I know they were trying to help me. Logical me knows they were trying to help me, but passionate me who's desperately trying to find a solution is like, this is all, none of this is actually helping. This is just taking up my time and theirs, right? So when I was pointing out the irony of that, someone else was like, boy, you sure are conceited for feeling this way, basically saying my work was not good enough. Well, there's always going to be people who feel that way. There are always going to be people who will find reasons to demean your work. I can't even get my mom to go put my postcards up around my hometown because that's my job, even though she lives there, and loads of other artists I know have family members who are at least willing to do that. I mean, she won't even give me an email list of the teachers she used to teach with who are still teaching. I mean, she quit teaching like 4 years ago. She still knows people in the system. She won't even give me a list of those teachers so I can email them to see about volunteering to come in for a day to teach their kids some actual art skills or to talk to them about being an illustrator. I mean, so even my own mom has found ways to negate what I'm trying to do and sort of negate the importance of helping me. You know, I mean, like, anybody can do it. Anybody can rationalize that. And what is important is learning how not to take that personally, because that kind of stuff used to crush me. I mean, my own mother, my mom wouldn't. Like, how rough does that? She's only got 2 kids. I'm the only girl and I'm the oldest. Right? But I had to depersonalize it. I had to just accept that that is her decision. She doesn't have to do that for me. It would help me out a lot, but she doesn't want to, and that is okay. And I have to just keep moving forward. So what do I do when I'm faced with these sort of situations? And I'm not just talking about 1 or 2 people who are snarkily implying my stuff is not good enough. I'm talking about a constant stream because I'm always putting stuff out there. I do request a lot of support. I request a lot of engagement. What do I do? Because I am so loud and so demanding. I'm so out there and honest and just, I am what I am. I don't try to sugarcoat things. I don't try to knock off my edges because that's just not going to work. That's not me. How do I handle that? Well, first off, I get angry. Like, I actually allow myself to get angry. And I usually have to remove myself from the computer or from the situation because being angry, I am very passionate about what I do, and sometimes that means I take disappointment really hard, and I don't want other people to see me reacting that strongly, so I have to remove myself. So I go cook dinner, or I go do a bunch of dishes or something, or go for a walk. I remove myself from the situation, and I allow myself to feel angry. And I'm sorry about the wiggling. It's actually really hard to do this with a cat on my lap and gesturing. Then I probably listen to some of my favorite angry music. Say Anything is a great one. Taylor Swift has some really good songs for this sort of situation. And I might sing along, I might dance along. And then when I'm feeling cooler, I throw myself into another project because I can't prove these people wrong. People who have already decided to negate what I do, they are going to forever negate what I do. I will never, ever impress them. That's something, just like that cat, I'll never impress that cat. That's something we all have to work on learning, is that you will never actually impress your naysayers because they will always find ways to crap on what you do. They just will. There are 1,001 ways to cut somebody down to an inch tall. So you can't do it for them. You have to do it for you. You have to get back and go back to doing whatever it is that you're doing that you enjoy. You have to get better. You have to push yourself. Just pump out that work. Because this is about you. This is about making yourself feel better. This is about proving to yourself that you have worth, that what you do is valid. Because that's why it hurts when people naysay and find ways to diminish what you do. Because what really happens is it speaks to that little negative, nasty part of your brain that is always crapping on what you do, that looks at anything you draw and says, this is garbage. That's why it hurts, because it echoes that. So you have to prove it to yourself. You can't prove it to anybody else. And you have to just keep doing what you do. And it takes time. It takes years. So for those of us, or those of you who are further along in your careers, you might actually have a friend group that you can turn to who will sort of remind you of your accomplishments and remind you of what you've done right. For those of you who have been doing it for a while and maybe didn't get the recognition you deserve, or those of you who are starting out, I'm here to tell you that what you're doing is valid. What you're doing is good enough. We all always have room for improvement. We all can always grow, but you are worthwhile, and what you're doing is worth pursuing, especially if you're passionate and you love it, especially in the creative arts. It may take you a really long time to get there. You may never get the recognition you actually deserve, but it is worthwhile. Please, please keep doing it. So that was one of my vlogs for today. I have a feeling I'm going to have to do another to show you guys what I'm working on. So this will be sort of like yesterday with the A blog and the B blog. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please do not take me using examples from my real life as me attempting to pick fights or me complaining. For me, finding relevant examples, sharing something personal from my life helps, it helps me connect with you guys. It helps me demonstrate to you guys that I'm there with you. I know what you're feeling. You are not alone. Just because, you know, one person says you're not good enough does not make it so, because there are going to be people who love your work fiercely. That's what's so funny. For every person who craps on what I do, for every person who finds a way to negate what I do, there is somebody else who passionately loves it and is very generous and sincere in their praise of it. So you really just have to, maybe you need to like copy and paste all of those positive things and print them out and put them up. That's something I maybe need to do to remind myself when I'm feeling kind of dark and kind of depressed. But there are always going to be people who really sincerely enjoy what you do. And if you sincerely enjoy what you do, then it is worthwhile. And it really doesn't matter who rains on your parade. You know, parents, they want what's best for us. I do appreciate that. My mom has really fetishized the artist fight. She thinks the more I have to fight, the more this is God's will sort of thing. So she doesn't, I mean, I think she really does in her heart mean to help me because she assists me at cons, but I think she thinks this fight is part of like the purification process, like refining an ore into a metal. And so I think she thinks that by helping me, she'll be hurting me. And maybe that's what's going on with some of these people in your life. They think that maybe by being harsh, they're helping you improve. So even though that hurts, try to keep that in mind. And some people are just, you know, they say these things because they feel bad about their own stuff and they'll take it out on you. I've had friends who were like, you need to quit your comic. And then a week later they quit working on theirs. And I'm like, that's where that came from. Because it's usually like totally out of the blue, like, what? So the struggle is important. The struggle is real. The struggle is valid. Just because you have to work for something doesn't make you less worthy. Just because something comes a little easier to you doesn't mean your work isn't as good. I'm not trying to encourage imposter syndrome. That is something I struggle with as well. And you don't have to be successful to suffer from it either. I mean, I have anxiety attacks before every con. So, I hope that sharing this vlog was helpful to you guys. I hope it was inspiring. I hope you guys didn't take this the wrong way. It wasn't intended to like insult the people who had issues with my work. This wasn't meant to demean the people whose non sequitur suggestions, you know, didn't really hit where I was hoping it would hit. It wasn't really the sort of help I was hoping to get. I'm not intending to blast them. I just wanted to use that as a personal and relevant and recent example of how people can really mean well, but it really just has a negative impact on what you do if you allow that to happen. So this was November 4th. This is my 4th Art Sound Off vlog. I hope, again, can do that closing. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it gives you something to think about. This is something that I'm going to work on. I'm going to work on being legitimate and positive and actually helpful and thoughtful when talking to my fellow artists who are trying to solve problems, rather than giving the easy off-the-cuff pat answers, which don't help anybody, to be honest. Anybody who's been doing it long enough doesn't need that kind of help. So I'm going to try to treat my peers with the respect that I want to be treated with. I'm going to treat them with the consideration that I would enjoy and that they do deserve. And I'm just going to try to improve, and that's all that I can suggest to anybody. We are all part of this system. We all contribute to this system. So if you want to see a positive change, you need to embody that positive change. And even if you can't recognize it yet in the people around you, you will eventually. You're going to inspire people. So let's work hard to be inspirations to each other. Let's be kind, let's be supportive, let's be generous, let's be honest, because we're all really struggling. Most of us are broke. Quite a few of us try to be generous with the funds that we do have. And let's be mindful that everybody has their unique path and that they might have knowledge and experience that we don't know about because we don't know everything. And let's just try to be respectful of that. So I hope you guys have a great day. I'm Becca Hilburn. This is my mess of a studio. I'm going to work on getting it cleaned up because somebody requested a studio tour. I might make that a backer exclusive because cleaning is hard work and I don't want to do it. So if you're interested in that, head on over to the Patreon for information on how you can join the Art Nerd community and how you can get sneak peeks into my life like that. I'm working on opening up, but it's still a work in progress. I'll see you guys around. Bye!